So before we move on to the next major section, there's just a little bit of code cleanup I want to do. And it's just housekeeping, and nothing here is terribly exciting, but it's all something that I would typically do at this point in a project. So if you look at our code right now, or look at our product right now on the web page, if I look at all movies, they're listed just using a standard bulleted list. But if I go to genres and look at, say, crime, it uses this nice functionality. I want to clean it up so it looks a little bit better. So let's go back to our code, and we'll look at two files. The first one is one genre, and here's where we have the div class name equals list group. So I'm going to copy that, and I'll go back to movies and change this UL to a div with that class name. And this will be a div as well, which means I don't need the li at all. So let's get rid of that. And instead, we'll go link, and we have to give it a key attribute. So key is equal to m.id. And then we just add class names. So I'll go back to one genre and copy those class names like this. Back here, back to movies, and put the class names right in there. And I'll just format everything. And that should fix it for that page. So let's go back and look at movies. That looks a little bit better. Okay. And genres, do the same thing with genres. So let's go back to genres and change that. We'll just add the class name here like this. And put our key in there as well. m.id, and get rid of these li's because we don't need them anymore. And change the top part to a div. Copy this. And go back to genres and replace that UL with this div tag. And this becomes a closing div tag. And that should do it. So let's format it. Okay. And go back and look at genres. And they look much better this way. All right. So that's just a little bit of cleanup. Now there's lots of other things we can do to make this more attractive, and I'll leave that till a little bit later in the course. But right now, it's time to move on to manage catalog. And managing a catalog is actually going to require us to learn a bunch of new things. First of all, how do you do forms in React? How do you submit information and grab it back? How can you send a post request from React to, say, change the details of a movie or add a new movie? And how do we delete a movie? And again, that's going to take a little while. None of it is terribly difficult, and everything you've learned so far will be helpful as we go through the next section. So let's move on.